You took the time to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Marvin?
Great, fantastic. How you doing today?
I'm doing great out there. I'm glad to hear you and glad to see you here in the virtual studio audience.
Yes. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a little minute, Kim.
I know,
so it's glad to be on here again.
Well, I'm glad. And this time you're coming wearing a different hat. So the last time you came on the Kim Jacobs Show, we were talking more about funding and credit and being your own bank. And that's part of what you do as well, obviously. Yeah. But today we're going to be talking about more of Marvin Wilson's personal testimony, his personal story, his personal journey. And so he's going to be really opening up about some things that he's experienced and how he hopes that it will help those that are experiencing something similar. Maybe it's a family member that you know that's dealing with something very similar to what he's going to be sharing today. We don't want any person to be left behind. Nobody to just fall off the bandwagon. If there's a way and there's a chance that something can happen to help a person have the very best possible outcome in life, I know what I want to see happen for everyone.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you do too. That's why you're here.
Likewise. That's why, this was apparent that I definitely wanted to come on the show and talk about this, definitely for this week. For this month, actually, for the Mental Health Awareness Month. But, it's something that's definitely in our communities that definitely need to bring more awareness on. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for being that person that steps out and does that, because you have to kind of be willing to get out of your comfort zone and be willing to be transparent and share your own story. And that's not easy to do. It's easier said than done, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's definitely, it can get interesting,
Yes. But listen, everybody, go ahead and grab your virtual seats, share the broadcast, let everyone be invited into today's discussion. This show is all about how people are balancing different aspects of your life. So that way, whatever you've had to overcome, it may be a blessing or a testimony or an answer or a piece of that missing puzzle that might be missing in someone else's life. And so you don't want to deprive people of the opportunity to hear our tremendous guests that come here on the Kim Jacobs Show. What we're going to do is welcome everyone that we do see coming in. Mackenzie's back. Yay. Thank you, Mackenzie, for coming back and working in the back office. She actually had death in her family. And so I wanted to make sure that we, as a community of the Kim Jacobs Show viewing audience, know that we've been praying for Mackenzie and her family and continue to keep them in prayer, because her aunt transitioned from this earth. And beautiful tribute that I was able to see and learn more of her beautiful aunt and the mother, the wife, the fun, loving aunt that she was here on this earth and still is, obviously, to Mackenzie and her family. So just want to acknowledge that as well. Mackenzie, glad to have you back. All right. So who's in the studio audience? Any comments coming in yet or anything? We can pop it up. And Vanita, good morning. Good morning to you, and glad to have you here. We're going to be acknowledging you all throughout today's discussion. So go ahead and grab your virtual seats, and we will definitely take time to acknowledge each and every one of you. We're going to take a commercial break, hear from our first episode sponsor, which is Hunter Everidge Law Firm. If you're dealing with disability, you're dealing with workers' compensation, or say you have a wrongful death of a loved one, you definitely want to learn more about Hunter Everidge Law Firm, the Virginia area, Carolinas area, and the Alabama area. Let's hear from them now. We'll be right back.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented. And I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work, work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
Let Hunter Everett Law Firm help you. And I want to go ahead and introduce Marvin Wilson, U.S. Navy veteran, who is an entrepreneur and has built successful businesses in the travel industry and in the event promotion and ticketing industry. After working with his father's travel company, Marvin had his first taste of business. And understanding the economic trend of business, he became more aware of what the business principles are built on: credit and capital. He is also passionate about educating others on how to sustain their businesses, and he will assist business owners with receiving business funding and financial education. So from that perspective, you want to get to know Marvin automatically from that point. But today he's going to be talking about the unique perspective based on his own life experience and the fact that he has served in Desert Storm and at the Pentagon. I am so pleased to have Marvin Wilson here on the Kim Jacobs Show today. Welcome, Marvin.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here, Kim.
All right. So we don't have anything scripted. We're just going to have a conversation.
Okay.
And I really want to just have the opportunity to hear you take us back to some of your military days. Give us a insight.
Good. Well, again, I appreciate, the opportunity, Kim. Yeah. So, this is something that has not so much been suppressed, Kim, but, I say for the last 15 years, going into the military at age 17. I'm the only child. So my mom actually had to, she didn't want to, but, going in a war, being the only child at that time was something that of course, being underage, and it was just a lot of things that I had to sort of understand what the risk was. And so, of course, mom was a little bit reluctant, parents a little bit reluctant about me just going in at that time. And it was a little risky. So, but at that time, it was sort of, I was leaving, one war going into another. And that was just a lot of personal things that was going on here at home and things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you mean by that? Because I want you to elaborate that on.
Well, life in general, we all was raised in, in households and, just things that we just had to, embrace or just accept. Okay. And so a lot of things just wasn't always what it seemed, going on, being raised, in my household. Okay. Came up great, had everything I could ever ask for. I'm not going to never downplay how hard my parents worked and, how I was privy to see things that most kids wouldn't probably be able to see. Mm-hmm. But it was also a lot of different things that, I was challenged to, to have to handle as well. Just being the only child, a lot of mental abuse, a lot of things that came from a lot of other areas. I don't want to get too far into that, but
right. Yeah. Keep right on with the points that you're going to make. This is good.
Yeah, it was a little interesting because I could have went to college, and I had had an opportunity to go to Illinois Ryan, a lot of other different colleges.
Right.
I just wanted to get away and be able to really sort of see the world and sort of, grow up a little bit, sort of see it from what I need to see.
So it was your choice. It was your choice that you wanted to go to the military.
Yeah. It was. Okay. It was a lot of things that started showing up in my life that I felt that I wasn't making the right decisions.
Right.
And I just think that, thank God now that I did. So with that, going in at 17, right after high school, I went in there and I just, I did boot camp. That was interesting. And then I went to my next school, which was in Meridian. And so when I went in, Kim, I was like, it was great because I had my IQ when it comes from English, grammar, and comprehension was so high. They gave me a job as called a yeoman. A yeoman in the military and the Navy is that you're basically you're more of a facilitator or an office coordinate for admirals and
Okay.
captains, and that's how I got into the Pentagon position, because I was just being able to really be able to structure and read and comprehend so well. So I would actually be able to facilitate a lot of the paperwork and the admin things for a lot of the brass and people. So I was like, oh, okay, hey,
You can
I'm
do that,
good.
right?
Yeah. But that didn't happen. So as soon as I got in, I had to quick and understand that in the military, definitely in the Navy, you have one job. This is your primary job. But when you go on those boats, you have a secondary job, and that's to defend the boat. So with that, I wound up becoming, it was called a Helo Rescue Squad leader. Helo means more of Helo helicopter. And the war that I was in, Kim, it was no bullets, it was no guns. I was in a chemical biological warfare, meaning that it was a silent war, meaning that you could just come into a certain environment and you just see people's arms and legs just fall off because they've run into a certain contaminated area. And that's just what it was.
So there was no forewarning. You couldn't plan the attack, the strategy, because you just appeared.
Yeah, right. I mean, you really couldn't plan. I mean, we had preventive maintenance, like we had we had the mask on, and we had certain things that could sort of, help preserve our life, or, certain things that could prevent us from running into stuff. But at the end of the day, it was still there, and it was a little bit stronger. And a lot of the emphasis was based on what I'm knowing now, that we didn't know what was really going on. So we were really going into a lot of things that we just didn't have any clue what was out there. We didn't know how to really negate the enemy, if you want to say, because we didn't know if it was going to be, tomahawk bombs, or was it going to be some kind of nuclear gas?
Wow.
So it was like all the above, because it was a nuclear war. A nuclear war is completely different from most of the wars that we've seen in the past, because, nuclear warfare is, it's gas. It could be toxic. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So with that being said, not to get too into a lot of that, but I saw.
Yeah. So I know it's all confidential. So
yeah. I saw a lot. And from helping on the Helo squad team, my job was to see when people come from, now the Navy, my job, we were outside of Bahrain. So basically my ship was right outside of the enemy lines, like about 15 miles away from land.
Right.
So with that being said, so when those helicopters left our ship, they went into warfare, right? So they went in to actually, go in and see what was going on, or kill or be killed, and all this other stuff. So when they came back, I was the guy that had to decontaminate these guys. And when I saw trying to decontaminate these guys, a lot of these guys, half of their face has been melted. A lot of these guys have come back with one arm. A lot of these guys had, feces on them, had done, you never know when they come back from that war zone, what was going on. So me having the mask on, me being, covered, but still seeing that in real time, it was a little interesting, not so much with my age, but just was like, I can't believe what's going on here, So with that being said, that's traumatic, right?
Yeah, it's traumatic hearing it. And all I'm doing is hearing it. And so right now, for me, trying to get a visual of what you're saying, I can never imagine being the person that has to help the individual go through that traumatic decontamination, or is that so you're helping them get unequipped, basically?
We're spraying them down, making sure that they can't decontaminate the rest of the ship and kill us, right? So but with that being said, people struggling for their lives, people knowing that they're never going to be right again, they're never going to be able to walk again, and things, people that you were just like, hey man, what's up, hey, what's up, Tim, 2 days ago. Now, next thing you know, these people are walking around with no, it was a lot. And so that was about 8 months of that. Well, 8 months of that, it came to be, experiencing that, meaning that even with that job alone, being able to see those type of things. And then also, having a job to be staying on duty on a ship. Sometimes, you're hearing things all times of night. You're hearing things hitting the boat like boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And you're like, what's going on? So next thing you know, when sun comes up, you can look out for miles at a time, and you look out at the water and you're like, what is all the stuff floating around? And next thing you know, those are limbs, arms, neck, those are body parts that's floating. And it's so disgusting. You wouldn't even be able to think about the smell that we had to be able to, just people getting blown up by atomic bombs, and thousands of people getting killed. And then their body parts have come and start coming back towards the boat. You could never imagine the type of smell and the type of things that you would even see. You're talking about kids, you're talking about adults,
just people, body parts everywhere.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah,
and you're hearing it bump up against the boat because this happening because now you're in the chemical warfare zone, and you don't even know until you start hearing the bumps that we're here in this unsafe area right now. Right.
And you're there. It's not like you can't run away from it.
You're there.
So yeah. So I mean, it was we're on a DDG, which is called a destroyer, which is a smaller ship, but we was a part of anchored around a lot of other supporting ships. But we were the ship that was really had the bombs and had most of the warfare to attack or to shoot upon anything that comes around us. So we had to stay there for the longer part of time than most of the other ships. The ships that ran out of food, they would come and go, but we really stayed there.
Did you have people on board that were counseling you and trying to get you all through some of the mental trauma that you were dealing with? How did that work?
At that time, no. I mean, it was just like, man, you're okay, you're good.
Just checking in on each other.
Yeah. It wasn't nice. Trying to get yourself together. It wasn't time for that. We were really just trying to save our lives and just get back. So with that being said, now fast forward, coming back here, just. Now, I think when I got back, Kim, I was maybe about 23, 24 years old, still young, want to go to college.
Okay. So from 17, let's go back, everybody. So you have a timeline here. From the age of 17, Marvin Wilson, we're talking with U.S. veteran, U.S. Navy veteran, Marvin Wilson today. He was 17 years old when he enlisted into the Navy, his mom's only child. And, thought maybe he was going to get like a nice, cushy desk job type of situation, but that is not what ended up happening. Obviously, he went into chemical warfare and had some significant traumatizing experiences. And so he's here to share his story with us today. And what I want to do is take another commercial break and come back and pick up with when you were 23 years old and you came back home. That is a lot's happened. A lot's happened between 17, being a yeoman, helo, being on the destroyer ship. And I'm looking at all this notes that I'm over here taking. You've experienced a lot in that time frame. When we come back, tell us how it was when you got back on dry land in the United States at 23 years old. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
right, everyone, we're back. We're talking with Marvin Wilson. Your camera went up to the ceiling area, Marvin, so push
okay.
it down some. I want to make sure that you know that you can learn more about confidence tones by, I'll put you backstage. I'll put you backstage for a second. You can learn more about confidence tones by reaching out to Dr. Jody Bear, and that's 1-800-820-0584, and let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. Again, that's drjody.com. And Hunter Everidge Law Firm. I want to make sure that you also know that you can reach out to them at 704-251 I need my glasses. How about that, right? Okay, 704-251-2945. And they are in the Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina area, as well as Richmond, Virginia, and the Alabama area. If you're reaching out to them in Alabama, is 334-231-9886, and let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. All right. Thank you so much to our episode sponsors today. And we're going to pull Marvin Wilson back in. All right. So Marvin, 23 years old, and you are now home. You're home. And I see a lot of comments too that's been coming in. I just want to make sure I let you all know that we do see you all. We will be acknowledging more throughout today's broadcast. But you're home now. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, home was a little bit different. I got back, and it's funny, Kim. It's like when you're in more of a, I would say, war. Away from home. You sort of signed off about, who won the NBA championship, or LeBron James, or
Right.
At that time, of course, it was probably, Michael Jordan and all this other stuff. And I'm hearing people talking about it in like real time, and the thing about it is that it's so funny that you feel like, wow, I'm fighting for the United States. But at the same time, these people didn't have no clue about what was going on.
Mm.
I'm like, hey, man, and they were like, yeah, man, 3 months ago, remember we were watching the game and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I was fighting for my life, and these guys were watching the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just,
wow.
How you can be here and then still the United States, safe, home, having barbecues, and people don't understand what people have to do to risk their lives for you to just have a normal day. Does that make sense?
That beyond makes sense. It changes everything, the way I even think from just having this conversation with you, because you're saying all the pleasantries and all the fun, and it's like, oh, let's celebrate. We're having a good time. We're doing this. Yeah. When people are over wherever they are at undisclosed locations, fighting for their lives, fighting for us to be able to enjoy the niceties, all the fun stuff that we're here grilling out and celebrating and doing all of this. And there are people that are literally losing their lives for us.
Mm-hmm. Every day. And sometimes we don't even have a clue about what's going on. We might have a little glimpse of what's going on TV, but you have no clue about what's going on across seas from a day-to-day aspect of what these guys in the military, especially the ones that's in the trenches, and what they have to go through.
Right.
And then when they come back, it's not about so much of depreciation. It's just a reality check of just being able to give back. Wow. And just like, okay, things are normal,
But they're not.
And
what do you want people to know? I want to hear, because before we go into what you ended up experiencing once you came home, what do you want people to know about people that are fighting on the front line or in the seas or wherever they are, in the air, whatever branch of military that they're in? What's something you want people to take away from what you're sharing today, just with the battle part alone?
Well, I want people to take away from to really understand and know that whether it be your child, it could be your brother, it could be your daughter, it could be whoever, but there's another world out there that people have seen that you have no clue about where your freedom is coming from, what freedom what it even feels like, and so I would say that when you do embark and, talk to a veteran, Just make sure that you acknowledge them and just let them know, hey, I appreciate your service, which I do get that for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely understand and know that, sometimes those people, it might not be a mass, but they are probably, have a whole lot more going on than what you think is going on, because they're probably at the end of the day, they've healed or
Yes.
they're trying to heal.
That's
It's not like a process that is never over because you never can forget what you went through.
right.
So, check in with some people. That's really what I want to say, Kim. If
This
you
is
know
good.
people that have been in a war or have really have these type of experiences, check in with them. Check and see if they're okay sometime. Just to say, hey, hey man, you doing okay? Yeah, what you doing for Memorial Day? You're okay, like
So that
you
they're not
know.
having to be alone or isolated for the service. Because yeah, I what I'm hearing you say is something so profound for me anyway. I can only speak for myself, but anybody in the studio audience, type your thoughts as well. But it makes you look at a veteran differently, because sometimes you can see that there's so much trauma that's
Mhm,
happened that you're like, I wonder what that person is really thinking, because they've been, you can see, I can see it physically that they've
mhm,
gone through so much. But it's
mhm,
almost like, and I may be having it all wrong here, but I'm thinking sometimes when people see the exterior pain and agony of a veteran,
mhm.
it's hard to determine whether you should approach the person or whether or whether you should kind of leave the
Right.
person alone. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they did what they did for us.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sacrificed their lives for us. Whether that
Mhm.
now they may not have been the ones that passed away, but a lot of people obviously have.
Yeah.
So how do we approach a veteran? I say thank you anytime I see them, especially if they have hats and different things that
Mhm.
are identifying things to let me know that they've served
Mhm.
our country. If I see somebody, I'll try and pay for a meal, or I'll do a little surprise if I have it, myself.
Mhm.
I'll do
Yeah.
creative things like that. But what can we do to get out of our own comfort zones and really thank them? Sometimes they're standing on the streets, they're homeless, some of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they said, I'm
It's
a
a lot of
veteran. I
that.
served the country. I
Yeah.
always give money if I have it in my head at all. I just give it. I don't care if I'm riding and the light turned green and I have it in. I'll ball it up and throw it to
Yeah.
the situation.
I
Whatever.
mean, personally for me, Kim, I mean, the thing is what I want to just bring on is just that when it comes to, I think the country, when it comes to really trying to help veterans, I think it really took I say in a positive way. There's a lot of things that helps veterans, a lot of things
Uh-huh.
I've really been able to really see what those was about. I mean, I was going to the Veterans Hospital. Granted, my mom was in nursing at the Veterans Hospital for 40 years.
Right.
So I was like, hey, that was actually my first job when I got back. One of my first jobs is I went back into the Veterans Hospital and was even working sort of not in the same aspect with her, but in the same hospital. But at that, it was just another level of seeing the aftermath of what I experienced, and then being able to
Right.
come home and see these people in the hospital. But I was fortunate enough to have, I would say, a sound mind, have everything going on physically that I could work. And and I just wanted to put that out there, Kim. It's like most of the guys that come home that have things that's going on with them, first thing they do is say, hey, of course they need help. They might not be in a way that they can work or whatever the case may be. But
Right.
for me, I just wasn't raised that way. I wasn't ever raised of going out and trying to look for help. So I totally went into the workforce. I worked at the VA. I obviously, you see, I had entrepreneurship endeavors. I just went on like the average guy. But at the end of the day, having that type of tension and having that type of accountability, not only to be a 9 to 5 guy, also going out here doing what I've done and some things to be the first one to do it,
Right.
that was a whole lot within itself. But then to also have this on the other shoulder, like, hey, hey, sleepless nights, a lot of things that you're accountable for what you're doing out in society, but you also have this other piece that's connected to you that you're like, hey, I don't want to even tell that story because they wouldn't understand. And if I do, they're probably going to look at me differently. You know what I'm saying? So let me just
I look at you differently, but I look at you differently with now you make me cry every time I see you from the perspective of just the gratitude that I have. It's one thing to know you as the funding guy. It's like, okay, Marvin, we talk about some money, we talk about some business. What can you do for the company and all of this stuff like that? That's a whole different discussion than talking about what you're talking about today and what you personally experienced. The trauma, the mental resolve that God has blessed you with to still be able to come back and help other people that may not be able to help themselves. They may not be able to have enough wherewithal to say, guys, I am dying slowly over here. I'm stretching my hand out, but I don't even know how to stretch my hand out because my hand may not even be there.
Right. Exactly.
So what can I stretch out? Something that looks deformed to you, but know that my heart was for you.
Yeah, right. And the thing about that one though, Kim, as well, is like I have so many buddies of mine, and we have like times that we meet up with people that we was in the military with, and we kind of catch up. And the thing about it is, it's not so much. See, it was like a reaction that they might have got, some of that toxic stuff that was inside of their bodies, or they may have got contaminated. So sometimes it didn't affect them, but it affected their kids. So a lot of these guys came home, had children, one leg, one arm, something going on, and so it can go on and on and on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I mean, literally,
it can affect you in a lot of different ways. And it affected guys not only so much with them, but their children. Of course, the PTSD, the trauma, the anxiety, the depression, not feeling that you can just even connect with people sometimes, because it's like, who can I talk to about that? So there's a lot of different help out there, but I just want to be an advocate and be an ambassador myself to be able to talk about, there is help out there. Of course, I think the veteran hospitals and people, they're doing the best job that they can.
Yes.
And of course, there is a website that I put up on the chat here. Me, myself, I try not to get too much engulfed into trying to do a lot of prescription pills. I'm not going to get to that too much, There is help there for that. But then there's some things that I think maybe a little bit more research on, how it can affect people.
Right.
It don't affect people the same way.
Yeah, everything. That's everybody though. That's not just that's so there's another approach to a lot of things when it comes to the way you perform, the clarity. Yeah. And I want to give a big shout out to renewyou.com, which is the website is there. And I did put it in the comment section. This is a resource that Marvin recommends. I don't know if they do virtual as well, or is it just local to Charlotte, or what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Actually, they do. They're very huge in the Midwest, but they are here on Woodlawn, closer to the Tavola area. But you could definitely pull them up. That's the website. But they take a different approach. Is not anything dealing with pharmaceuticals or pills or anything like that, but they do activate a lot of things that have been you've been traumatized about, or what's going on in your brain, or what you've experienced. And they really activate a lot of those things that have been clogged up on a subconscious level, and they open it up so you can feel free again. You can think, and and it's so much education about it. I don't want to downplay it. I don't want to say the wrong things, but it's helping me. Okay. So anybody out there, and I know this, what I'm talking about from a veteran, of course, but things that have happened to people in all kind of areas. It could have trauma's trauma, right?
Yes.
But this specific business and platform here with Renew You I've seen NBA players, NFL players, people that just want to get focused again. This is a great holistic approach to them just sitting you down. They will do a consultation with you virtually, and they'll explain to you exactly what it is. And if you feel comfortable, they'll have you come in and they'll start the treatment. It is a series of treatments that you have to do. They do activate and put some things on your head, but it's nothing like, electric or nothing going in your head or anything like that. It's just a way that they can really be able to negate some things that's going on with you emotionally, mentally, and it really makes you really open up. You can be able to start having a lot more clarity, focus, patience, and be more relaxed without taking medication.
Okay, and so that's what you personally go to Renew You, and you're seeing some significant benefits for your own personal journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been almost 2 months now, close to 3 months, and I've because it got to a point, with the pressures of business and a lot of other things, Kim, I was like, I don't really want to, I just saw what some things was going on with a lot of my brothers out there, and I wanted to just try something else addition to. Okay. Not only going to my visitation at the Veterans Hospital and doing what I need to do on that respect, but also just looking at some other approaches as well. So I would definitely recommend people going out to check them out and see, and like I said, this stuff is in everybody's home. It affects a lot of people in a lot of different areas.
Wow. I'm grateful that you are recommending them, and I thank you, Renew You, for the help that you're providing to Marvin Wilson, and I'm sure to many other veterans, and like you said, professional athletes and so forth that have also been impacted from concussions and different things. So it sounds like your services are great, and I'm glad that you're here today just to endorse what they're offering as well. Now, again, this program is streaming also in 100 countries and 350 million households and different other networks as well. So keep in mind that when he says Tyvola, he's talking about Charlotte, North Carolina area. He's talking about the Charlotte, North Carolina area, but you can definitely connect with them virtually as well. You all make sure you share the broadcast and encourage people to listen in on what Marvin Wilson is saying. He's totally sharing some significant wisdom today. What else do you want people to? My mom is on. She said, good morning, Kim and Marvin. This is a very interesting show.
Yeah. Well, I want to definitely bring on and Kim, this is what I respect you on, and your mother as well. So just bringing so much awareness to so many things going on. I'm just grateful for that. But I want to talk about, for me, myself, the things that I had to do, like the books that you see behind me. We got to do the work. God gives us temple, gives us God, our mind, to be able to go out and use it and serve and help people. But, we also got to do the work, right? We have to stay in the right environment, be around the right energy, the right people, the people that, of course, whoever that you serve, whether it be spiritually or religious, God, Jesus Christ, my Savior, the Most High. Some people call it the universe, whatever it is, knowing that something is giving you life.
Something bigger than you is giving you life. Whoever you hang your soul on.
And that's have gotten me through a lot. Just putting myself into just knowing what life is about, having a purpose, having a mission, knowing that you're not just this meat suit walking around with no purpose and nothing. I'm just here. No, you're not just here. You're here for a specific reason. And once you learn what you're here for, or what you really enjoy, or how you can really help people, I think that's going to open up a whole lot of different doors. Because for me, I know God shows up in people, places, and things.
Woo! Absolutely.
He will show up. And so with that, I know that if I do what I need to do, far as taking care of myself, my body, my mind, and, having that love energy, I know that, the rest will take care of itself. So I just know that I'm going to give a shout out to all the veterans out there that put their life on the line.
Yes.
And I want to let you know, guys, we don't have to be vulnerable. We can be vulnerable now, guys. We done been people call themselves the tough guys out here. We were the tough guys. Okay. We really showed up to be the tough guys. So now, going out saying what I have to go through or what I have to, focus on or what I've experienced, I'm okay with sharing that with people now because I don't have anything to, it is what it is, guys. If I can help people to come out of their shell and say, hey, you know what? I got a problem or I need some help. That's what this whole thing's about, Kim.
I'm so grateful. And actually, when you say you want to give a shout out to these veterans, according to AARP, it's actually in the United States Census Bureau data, there are about 19 million veterans age 18 and older in the United States, and with about 13 million being the ages of 50 and older. And about 6 million are AARP members. So I got that from AARP. That's a rack of veterans that we need to be recognizing. It's not some small number of people. There are so many people that have committed to serving our country in the United States. Now, I'm talking about the United States. Obviously, other countries are viewing this show as well. And so your statistics would come from your own individual countries as well. But every country, no matter where you are in the world, let's salute and celebrate the people that are representing our individual locations, because they're representing us as if they're like extended family members. You're like my family. You're out helping to try to protect me. That's what the gift that God gave you, Marvin Wilson, is to go out and to think way in a selfless manner and go out and protect all of the families in the United States.
Yep. In closing, Kim, I mean, of course, having, being with the Lindio and the funding CEO and the way I approach business, Kim, this is why I'm sort of tenacious and fearless when it comes to making steps and just knowing that something's going to be there. I just got to keep going and just, I don't wait on people sometimes. I try to make the best decisions, but it's really helped me in business because it really let me understand and know that, fear is only love and fear. Fear is never going to get you anywhere. And it's really opened up a lot of doors. And I'm glad to be able to see not only that of being a veteran, but also being a business person, that it's doable. If I can do it, you definitely can do it.
And you know what you're speaking about, if you can do it, then we can do it. What I want us to do is help people understand, because we have a few more minutes here, understand this whole funding component, because you came from the military and then went straight into working at the veteran hospital, but then you took a whole different turn and turned into this funding CEO where people are their own banks. That's his own theory. So when we come back from our next commercial break, we want to hear about your funding hat that you wear. I'm trying to tag some different people too, because I'm like, this is good. We'll be right back, everybody. We're talking with Marvin Wilson. He's sharing his U.S. Navy veteran traumatic experience that he experienced. So if you missed the episode, go back and watch the replay for sure. And we're going to be talking more with him now about funding and what that means to you. We'll be right back.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection with Funeral Advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Getinsured.solutions, LLC. Getinsured.solutions. 704-499-3616.
Everyone, we're back. We're talking with Marvin Wilson, and I know him as the funding guy. That's how I came in contact with him. But today I learned a whole different side to Marvin, and I'm so grateful that you've shared that with us. Before we transition our conversation, any words of encouragement or final thoughts pertaining to just the veteran piece of the mental health? Anything that you want to share with us so we can get better? We as a society can become better because of what you're sharing.
Yeah, I think that, just everybody just needs just some time, the social media and so much things now are just sort of telling us how to live, the judgment of where people are and, you know, what they have going on in this persona that they have to, carry, if you will.
Right.
But if you're really a real friend to somebody, or you really want to engage and say, hey, I want to show up to be a real person in anybody's life that I connect with, I simply just do a little bit of more of I say just do a little bit of an internal, I say investigating on who you're dealing with and who you're talking to. Don't always take it for granted that everybody's always got it together, because people sometimes they have to put that on for them to just be accepted in a way. They shouldn't have to.
Right.
So we just have to know that gray area of just being able to meet people where they are sometimes. Everybody's not going to have what you have. Everybody's not going to talk the way you talk. And, just I'd like to call the word God express. Just show up in love and just know it is what it is, and, I feel that, once people start really having a more of a serving modality, a serving spirit, that I think things will start coming a little bit together. The unification, the collaboration of how people can work together and not be so much judgmental. Kim, I always look at it as, just be approachable. You never know who you're talking to. Like somebody with me, hearing my story, they never thought I'm a non-depository bank owner. I'm the first one to open up a fintech banking, in North Carolina, period. I was the first Black ticket master. I brought CIAA here through Anchorage, through Hampton University. I had a big to do to bringing that whole thing here, so I've been working, but the whole time, Kim, that's the story behind it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I have another question about sometimes when you think you're doing right by a person that you can see dealing with some traumatic situations, and even though you don't know what the trauma is associated with, but you know that something's not right there in that situation, and you, meaning just generically, you try to approach it and deal with it to the best of your ability, but it backfires and it doesn't end with the intention that you originally set out to help with.
Right.
What advice would you give in situations like that?
Well, you basically, when you put the intention out to help someone and it doesn't show up that way.
Right.
Because
your intention could be right. At
Right.
least you think your intention is right. But if the intention is not being received the way that you think you're presenting it, then either something that you're doing in the presenting is off, or something that is on the receiving end is off. Something's off. But yes, when two offs are happening, you can't make it right. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how you make a situation right like that.
Well, sometimes it's not about, it's the lesson within the lesson. Everything is not going to be right. I don't think that's what we came here for, Kim. Just as human beings in general, we had to come and figure things out. The law, I call it the law of forgiveness,
right?
The law of discernment, the law of reciprocity. Understanding these things are always going on. It's never going to be an even keel. Life is not fair all the time. So we have to be able to know, that, everybody that shows up, it's not going to always be open hand. Hey, I love you. The best experience ever. Right. There's always going to be something that's going to show up that might not, not feel good. It might not sound right, might not feel right, but you can't take that so personal that it takes you away from who you are. You just got to go into it with the right intention, go into it with the right mindset, and then it'll happen, and then it'll disappear. But don't go into it. And believe me, the biggest thing I would tell people to persevere out here is don't take things so personally, and don't hold on to them when it does show up the way you don't want it. Don't hold on to it, you know.
But what if
Go.
it's dangerous? Like sometimes it's situations where it could be, especially if it's post-traumatic stress and you don't, and like you say, you're getting the help that you need because you recognize that you need that help. So you're actually going and voluntarily signing up for the help. But if there is a situation or situations, I know a lot of situations where even personal friends and family members and people that have experienced stuff that gets way sideways, and you're like, this is not good for anybody, no matter what help you think you're providing in the situation.
Yeah, I think with that though, Kim, it's just that you got to see that it's you know, the red flags and the little, you know, you start seeing certain things. Again, the way I feel it is you could maybe tap in with people just to sort of say, hey, you know, you okay? You know, do you need anything? And to just be approachable, you know, because if you're the person that, you know, is always in the pattern of not being able to really discern or understand, I feel like sometimes you have to be felt like you have to put on you have to put out there that people can ask you something, or you can be approachable, especially people that's in leadership now. You know, I mentor guys now. You know, I'm talking to all type of age ranges. I speak in all over the United States, and people approaching me on so many different levels. Some about funding, something just about being empowered. Sometimes people just want to have to talk to. Now, I don't have time to talk to everybody, and that's why, you know, Kim, I've had to put on the Meta Marvin group, which is a spirituality group. That's a support group for me.
Put that up.
And you know, and Meta Marvin, we teach. You know, of course, it has a lot to do with, we call it spiritual economics. We call it a lot of when it comes to your self-confidence about who you are, and educate people about really how important they are. And when people understand how important they are, not only to me, but to God and to everybody else, then I think that's when they'll start being able to not only love themselves more, they'll be able to want to work on themselves more. And that's all you want to do. You want to give people an idea of, well, I'm doing it. Like if I'm saying the funding CEO and I got this going on, and I'm sitting up here on the Kim Jacobs show and I'm vulnerable enough to tell you I got this going on, then, you know, when everybody else can take a step in that direction and either be a catalyst or open up a door or say, hey, man, you know, I heard about this place over here called Renew. You might want to go check it out, man. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. I'm in it, you know. Then that might lure people to, until you're not telling them to do it, but you're telling them, hey, I'm getting the experience and it's helping me.
And I'm the only in the state of North Carolina, certain accolades that you possess that I know about you from a funding perspective. It's the first in your generation, in your family, in the state of North Carolina, and you have humbled yourself to the point where you're getting the services that you feel you need. I am so grateful you came here today. Listen, everybody, from a funding perspective, Marvin, say something about your funding. I know we talked a lot about mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, funding-credit.com. Definitely, guys. It's the one-stop shop. It's connected to lending opportunities, whether it be the Lendio, whether it be private equity. You know, we've been planted here in the central Charlotte area to be a non-depository bank. So guys, if you have challenges of getting funding, we can help you with your personal credit. We can help you with your business credit. We can help your credit score get a little bit higher. You want that home, you want that vehicle, or you just want better interest rates, or whatever the case may be. You don't have to go around and go to Credit Karma, go to the bank, and then go over here and do the hookup guy with credit. Just come to funding-credit.com. We have 4 different departments, and we can house whatever issues you have. We can help you get fundable. We can help you get that 700 plus credit score. We can help you build business credit. You know, and I've been a model in all those areas. My credit has went down. Now, you know, I can help people with that. Business credit, it can help you guys. Definitely, guys. I want to put this out here. My whole agenda with business credit is that if you're in business, everybody wants to make the millions, right? That's why you're in business for. You, I mean, you would like to make a get comfortable living, but why would you want to go out and put $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 on a business on your personal credit score? That's too many liability. Marvin might get sick. Marvin's getting older. Put the business over here. Keep your personal life over here. Just like you build personal credit, you want to build business credit so you can separate those two. That's good. Right? Mm-hmm. You know, so just look at life as a business. You want to definitely have your lifestyle. You want to live good. But if you want to anchor and really have a healthy business, you don't want your business connected to your personal life in a lot of different ways, because this could happen any day. Something could happen with this business and it can destroy everything you got going on over there. So business credit is really where I'm trying to put out to a lot of people. They need to understand that so they can know how to build it and, and have a healthy business.
Wow. Okay. I think we crammed in as much as we could in this period of time. I feel like you're a brother of mine now for life, outside of everything that I already knew from a business perspective. So thank you for being here today. You all make sure you stay connected with Marvin Wilson, and he's at funding-credit.com. Oh, Carrie Ann said, this is a great show. I learned so much about Marvin and all of his accomplishments. What an honor. Ella Bradley said, good morning. And this is a very interesting show. And thank you all so much. I will buy their meals, meaning for the veterans. Mackenzie said, whatever is needed, she will do everything she can to help, loving and honoring those that serve. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. That's much appreciated. Thank you so much, Kim. Your podcast is changing people's lives. I want to say thank you, Queen. Thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and for being here today. Thank all of our episode sponsors. I didn't get to share all of their videos, but definitely check out majorpt.com. And that is actually one of my sons is one of the episode sponsors. His name is Ivan Jacobs, and he kicks cystic fibrosis in the head. But what he also does is he's lost about 100 pounds through his own personal journey, student at UNC Charlotte. And he's also NASM certified, National Association of Sports Medicine certified, and he's taken 5 new clients. So if you want to go on your own personal weight loss journey, reach out to him at majorpt.com. And our other episode sponsor that I didn't get to put the video up of today was Jeremiah J. Jacobs, and he does websites and digital marketing for companies. So definitely check him out at jeremiahjjacobs.com. And he's the son that I say will definitely be a billionaire, because he's all about handling his business, and the clients that I've referred over to him have fallen in love with his services. So just want to acknowledge our episode sponsors today. And thank you all for supporting the Kim Jacobs Show. I do ask if you would like to donate to our program. It comes on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the only way that we can even have a show, staff, people that are helping with all of the production subscriptions that we have to subscribe to, you name it, everything that's happening, we encourage you to donate to the Kim Jacobs Show. For the audio podcast listeners on iHeartRadio and Spotify and SoundCloud, all of that stuff, you can go to $ Kim Jacobs Inc. is Cash App, or paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. And on Venmo is at the Kim Jacobs Show. If you want to be a Patreon member, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. That is today's episode with Marvin Wilson as our guest. Closing comment, Marvin. I'll give you that opportunity.
Well, I just want to say, hey, God is love. God, guys, let's just persevere through this life. Let's make it a good one. And we can make life better for anybody. Let's make sure we do that. And, my whole golden thing is even though I'm in this funding thing, what keeps me balanced, guys, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. Let's talk about the money, and let's connect the money when it comes to life and just who we are. Money is my own natural energy yield. It's not the green stuff. It's not the green stuff. It's who I say I am. It's what I say about my life. It's how I speak about my life. It's how I can serve people. It's the word, God. It's the word, guys. It's the word. It'll show up in money form. That's the effect. But the cause is you, right? So let's work on the cause. You'll get the effect. The effect is the money. We're the cause. My own natural energy.
I have some ideas for you, by the way. I'm going to talk to you about that. All right, everybody. I saw somebody said, mess with them if you want to. I forget. I saw a comment. I don't know if I'm getting back to it. Who said that? Oh, Mackenzie, put that comment up right quick. Who is
Byron
that?
Jones.
Byron said, yeah. He put, let me put my glasses sideways. He like, mess with them if you want to.
Byron, that's my guy.
Totally
What's up, Byron?
him.
Love you, man.
Who is that?
That's a friend of mine, Byron.
Well, Byron came and came through and supported you and brought a great laugh at the end of the show for you.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning into the Kim Jacobs Show. See you again tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great one. Stay backstage, Marvin. All right, have a great one.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern.